Hi, this is Arik,
And Aurelia,
and we're here to talk about life and interesting things.
or so we think, but in the end, you'll be the judge of it.
Either way, what we have to talk about is Ageless!
Ageless!
So we are sitting here in the eclipse energy pretty much right now. Last lunar eclipse of 2020 in Gemini. Do you have anything to say about that?
No.
Okay. Well, we're in Sagittarius season, and Sagittarius, do you know Sagittarius is the only sign that carries a weapon?
Yes, I have learned that in your ingression meditation. I did not know that before, even though, just thinking about what we see and perceive for a second would have shown me.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Because the archer, it's the only sign that has a.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of archer and like bow and arrow, how do you turn a arrow into a lotus? And what does that even mean?
Well, what it means is that you say that something comes at you, that could be perceived as being deadly and hurting you and comes with a lot of aggression, maybe, but you do not engage in that, but you just see it in the most compassionate way, and then it turns into what's called lotus flowers.
Wait, what? How well, let's then talk about that. Like how do you not engage in someone shooting arrows at you? And what does that even mean?
Well, I mean, somebody who's like mean to you or says like horrible things or is aggressive or even passive aggressive or is attacking you. That's what that means. I mean, you have been attacked verbally or, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I well, just like being a doormat though is not an option. Like I sometimes like I end up engaging.
Yeah, but, you know, looking with the eyes of compassion is far away from being a doormat.
Yeah. So how? How's that? How? What's the difference? Okay, so like if you don't engage, how do you not be a doormat?
Because you are not passively just allowing
Mm-hmm.
whatever is happening to you, but you're actively compassionate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that means, you can speak up, like you can
Of
say, hey,
course.
excuse me.
But there's not this like engagement that you're talking about. Like there's not this like where then like I have found in my experiences like when you engage with people who are just negative or they're just attacking you with words or even emotions or looks or whatever, like if you engage with that, then you just add fuel to the fire.
Exactly.
Because they want that. They
Yes.
like don't they want that? Like they need that, right?
Yeah. There is a fight can only happen between two
It
people.
takes two to tango, as they say.
Yeah,
Uh
one,
huh.
two, to fight
Yeah. Uh
also.
huh. Mm-hmm.
And if you are not fighting, then there is no fight. And I mean, that's the whole, I think, basis of Aikido. Please don't hold me responsible, but I seem that's what I remember, that Aikido is that martial art where you just get out of the way.
I can ask my Japanese friend.
Yeah, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like where, the person comes at you with a lot of force, and rather than standing in their way and beating them like with resistance,
Mm-hmm.
you just move out of the way, and then their own energy carries them, let's say, in the wall behind you.
Mm-hmm. Right, 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 right. But I guess then, like, why do people attack other people then, just in the first place? Like, where's that energy even coming from? And does everybody do it?
Most everybody.
Yeah. But like it's not like
I don't know
literally.
it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But it's not like yeah, because you're a sweetheart. But
Mm-hmm.
like it's like literally not a bow and arrow that like you're shooting at somebody, but it's like this is like what kind of different attacks can there be like on these different levels, like invisible attacks, like verbal, for example.
Yeah.
Like taking other people down, like
Yeah.
in messages or actually like spoken words or like written verbal. These are all just different kinds of attacks, like evil speech and whatnot.
Yeah.
So then if that's coming at you, the best way to turn that arrow into a lotus is to just first, like, what really leaves an impression on me is to like just not engage in that energy, not add fuel to that fire.
That's right.
Sometimes it's really hard because like if you have like a fighting spirit, like if you want to fight, like you want to like just plow the person down, but like I guess it makes more sense like with the Aikido to just kind of like or it's alleged, supposedly like or just to let them run into their own energy.
Yeah, because I mean,
and that's compassionate.
You have heard me say that sometimes I take a breath and I say if I wanted to I could get so angry right now.
Mm-hmm.
But then like just being aware of that like this energy is now arising, and then I do not engage in it.
Mm-hmm. And you have to like really discipline yourself to not
Very
engage because of course
much.
the ego says, "Oh yeah, look at that energy. I wanna engage in that."
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes if I think could it also be compassionate if you could see someone is, they're gonna run into their own energy, like the own attack that they're shooting out, that they're gonna run into it. Sometimes the compassionate thing could be, hey, like to bring them to awareness about it so that they don't run into that energy and hurt themselves.
No, that's usually not working. Because, I mean, it's not by happenstance that anger is like is blind anger.
Yeah,
or
blackout,
you're
redouts.
red with rage. It's like a bull that sees red.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you can do. You can try to talk to them, but good luck with that. I mean, I have realized that there's really nothing you can do. Getting out of the way is literally the best thing you can do for everybody.
Yeah, and I have found in my experiences, like when people have been so angry, like that it really has nothing to do with me.
No.
Like when people see red and stuff, like it literally has nothing to do with me, but really with their perception.
Yeah.
Or even, could you even call it perception at that point? Like just their own fatalistic view of seeing things. I mean,
it's still perception.
It's still perception,
I mean, that's what they perceive.
Yeah, like it really had, like, so if you're ever dealing with someone who's angry, like it really has nothing to do with you. Because anger is always kind of like, or what is it? Like anger is just this misdirected emotion.
Well, anger is, in terms of like the base energy, it is rejection. It is like something you reject.
Wow.
If we just divide it, keep it very simple, like attachment and rejection.
Yeah.
Then anger is one stage of rejecting things. You reject something with a passion.
Wow, it's intense.
It starts with annoyance, and then it gets angry, and then it gets like raging, and then it gets hateful, and and then that's that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then turning an arrow into Lotus is done by just stepping out of the way.
Energetically speaking.
Yeah, and of course we cannot oversimplify it, but I'm just saying
and
generally.
Have compassion, and just have compassion. Like, see what's going on, and then have compassion. And
And then a lotus is like just a symbol for what? Like then it leaves you with a good energy or what? Like you're converting that negative energy into something positive, or?
I don't have to convert it into anything because energy is energy.
No, but I'm just saying, like when a arrow turns into a lotus, then that's something negative turning into something positive, and then that's something like what?
No,
what is
it's
that?
all in the perception. I mean, have you seen the movie G? Has anybody seen that movie? I think it's like a 90s movie
I love the 90s, so.
Like with Jeff Goldblum, I seem to remember, and Eddie Murphy. I think, I'm not sure, but it's really funny. Like G, he's the like either G for God or for Guru or I don't know. But what I remember mostly of that whole movie is
Yeah.
like Eddie Murphy, I think, is G, and he's walking along the freeway. Okay? And there are these kids that are like in a convertible or whatever, and they are throwing Coke cans at him. And so every time a Coke can hits him, he like picks it up and he says, "Oh, thank you. Like, I'm so happy it wasn't a rock. And isn't that great? And look at this can." And, you know, he's not transforming anything into anything. Like, these kids, I mean, I don't know that they were angry, but in any case, like, their energy wasn't great. They wanted to hurt him because they criticized him as being weird, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they were bullies, but he did not engage it. All he saw was how wonderful this is.
I can totally see
and
it. Yeah.
thanked them like for every time something hit them.
Yeah.
And so this is basically what it is, because I mean, we have talked about that in Ageless before, I think, that whatever comes at you has to always, first and foremost, being considered as something that belongs to you.
Yeah, so that answers my question. Then, like, the Lotus is, like, just a celebration of life. It's just a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is. And, you know, it either may be that somebody rightfully, whatever in quotes, you know, is angry at you, but meaning like whatever they say really is something where they, darn, I think they have a point.
Yes, of course.
I really did that, you know, and then taking responsibility. And so, therefore, it's already turned into a Lotus because they didn't give me an arrow. They gave me a Lotus, the gift of a Lotus.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Because now I can, you know, learn something about myself. Or I say, that really does not apply, but thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to check one more time, and no, it doesn't apply.
And let him spin.
Didn't want to say it, but yes.
And then you let him spin. Or you accept the, like, you know, you take self-responsibility if you did, you know, like if you do own it and it's something you need to own, and you can still let him spin.
Hell yeah.
Because it's like, hey, you know, if someone's angry at you, for example, and then it's like, oh, you know, that was my bad, you know, like I take self-responsibility for it. But if they're still angry, then, you know, that's on them. That has nothing to do with you.
No, and once again, you know, you may be engaging and they may not be able to hear it.
Yeah.
And if they hear something, you know, then they maybe just feel like very righteous and very justified in shooting more arrows. And what you hear in the background, maybe if you hear it, this is little Saya having a little midnight snack.
That's right.
Because we just came from our evening stroll, and now she's hungry and thirsty, and so that's that.
It was a full moon stroll.
Yeah.
A full moon patrol. So then it's like, but sometimes you have to, like, stand up for, you know, you have to, well, no, hold on, before I say that, it's like, it's a good rule. It's actually even said, like, when someone is angry, you should not look at their face. Because it's a bad energy. Because anger spreads like
COVID?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sorry, I had to.
Yeah. No, actually, it actually spreads.
Yeah.
So anger spreads, like, multiplies extremely quickly.
Yes.
So, like, if someone's angry, like, you shouldn't even look at them.
No.
Because I don't know, like, I've seen people like, strangers get angry in public, and I'm like, man, I'm not gonna engage in that at all, because it's like that bull energy. Like, if they see the red somewhere, they're gonna charge at it.
Yeah.
And it could be anything or anyone.
Yeah.
Like, angry people are really unstable.
Yes.
But let me ask you this then. Is it possible to turn a lotus into an arrow? Like, in other words, like if you have a gift, but then you cannot see it, and then you perceive it as an arrow, like as an attack.
Yeah, but then it's not a lotus. I mean, it's always, everything only always applies to your reality. I can give you the lotus and,
You'll see it as an arrow.
you see it as an arrow. Hey,
Yeah.
she attacked me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So that's like someone who's angry would often see a lotus as actually an arrow.
Oh, yes.
Because
definitely.
everything's a lotus.
Yeah.
But it's really like seeing it as an arrow, you know, like in the whole Sagittarius theme, like this is how things get dark quickly.
Yes. 100%. And I mean, I do not know if, our listeners know that, but I'm an empath. And for us just now talking about this anger the whole time, I start to feel that energy.
Yeah, I feel it too.
I start to feel the energy in my body. You feel it too?
Yeah, I felt it like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's about that when it started. That's true. And so this is like not only, I mean, there are...
What's because when you talk about the angels, they appear.
Yeah, exactly, they do. And the negative angels also. And I just want to say that because whenever we speak, we think, okay, it's Arik and Aurelia, like we tell you. And then I just told you that Saya, our sweet little Sheba princess, is also here. But then there are these
warrior princess,
countless beings that are disincarnate. And they are listening to every word we say. And I don't want to spook you, but they also listen to every thought we have. But let's just keep it simple and let's just, stay with the words.
I just saw like a bunch of listeners' eyes open wide after they heard that.
Yeah, I mean, the space. And it's not like, oh God, it's like I must be in holiday mood because already another movie comes to mind. The hills have eyes.
I was thinking about that movie 20 minutes ago. Or like 20 minutes before we started.
You were?
Well, no, because it was like in context of something. Like I was listening to something else, and that's so intense that you brought it up, and I'm never gonna watch that movie again.
No, not.
Yeah.
And if you don't know it, I mean, don't watch it unless you really are a serious Wes Craven fan. But then you already saw it, so whatever. But why I'm saying it because it's like the hills have eyes, yes, and the space has ears, because every word is being listened to. And like Arik said, then every word has energy and it attracts like the beings that resonate with that energy.
Yeah.
And so that's why, yes, we have been talking about anger now, and we did it like from an hopefully educational point of view, but I think,
and
it's
protective.
yeah.
There's protection when you listen to Ageless.
Yes. But so just to let you know that if you are if you're watching a movie, for example, and it's like very angry and you are watching it or whatever, you do kind of connect to that energy. So we always have to be very, very discriminative in what we listen to and what we watch.
Absolutely, because you align with it.
Or read.
Because every human is empathic,
Yeah.
and we all align with that. But actually, that's something that I wanted to talk about in another episode, but I guess it's just coming up now. Can you talk a little bit about narcissistic empathy?
Oh, like the narcissist that empathic, or the narcissist that is attracted to an empath? I do not know what you mean.
No, like, yeah, the first one.
Uh-huh.
Narcissistic empathy.
I don't know what I should be talking about.
What is it?
Oh, okay. Like, what's a narcissist? The empathy
Like
part.
a narcissistic empath.
Okay, so we're clear what a narcissist is.
No.
Okay, then let's start there.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay, and I apologize to all the psychologists, that are the specialists on narcissism, which I definitely am not. But what I know about narcissism is like it is
a lot more than the average psychologist, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
It is the epitome of self-importance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like,
wait, now I feel the energy in my stomach.
okay. Well, maybe or like the image of like Narcissus, like in the Greek mythology. Like he was like this man, and he felt he was like so beautiful that he fell in love with his own image in the mirror. And so this is basically where we take this. We say like a narcissist is somebody who is seriously just always considering himself. Like it is a degraded energy of everybody being the center of their own universe. Like the narcissist takes this one step too far. Because even though, I am the center of my universe, meaning from where I sit right now in all directions, from where I am is the center. But I allow you the same thing, that from where you sit, in your reality, you are the center.
Wow, I just made 50 checks in my head of people who I know who are actually narcissistic.
I'm sure.
When you put it that, and when you like define it like that.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize that they're narcissist.
Yeah. Because
that's so true that they don't acknowledge that you're the center of your world.
Exactly.
Well, that's intense.
And they then want
I've never heard it that way before.
Want to make you the, part of their center.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
It's not like where, you as your person in your center and me as my person in my center, we have like an area where we overlap.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's our relationship. And for a narcissist, that's just not happening. And what they use, like when you say, of course, everybody's an empath because empathy lives in the heart vortex.
Yeah.
And we all have a heart vortex if we're alive,
Oh, yeah.
And so they are usually very sensitive and very empathic because they will totally...
Oh my God.
check you out and see and feel where your vulnerabilities are so that they can pull you in.
Whoa.
So, and this is why, like, narcissist and, maybe a little bit of a do-gooder, let's call it that, like, they are a perfect couple.
Like within one person or within, like, an actual
relationship?
relationship?
No, with an actual relationship, because... the do-gooder or the savior, feels like they have to show the narcissist that they exist. I'm there too, and in order to do that, they will bend over backwards to please the narcissist, which obviously is for the narcissist exactly what they want. It's like everybody bending over backwards to make them the center.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, that's really intense. I've never heard it put that way before, but it makes so much sense.
Thank you.
So then it's kind of like this, that they're probably angry, narcissists.
Yeah, I would believe that.
I mean, going back to the anger, like, they're probably angry.
Yes.
And I have noticed, like, just kind of, like, understanding what you're saying is, like, that also they can be having a heightened sense of empathy, or however you say that.
Yeah.
To know, like, when your focus is going off of them.
Definitely.
It's like, I'm not trending on your feed. I need to post now pictures of me half naked so that, I get your attention back.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh my God, they're lost.
Yeah.
If they're not if they don't see me as the center, They're lost. I have to save them.
Yeah.
That's intense. That's really intense. So how can you deal with people who like are narcissistic and like say like, you know, you're like in
You can't.
what do you mean you can't? It's like with the angry people.
Yeah.
Is it the same
you
vortex?
can't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're in love with themselves, and they
Yeah.
want you to be in love with them too.
Yes, obviously,
Like
but
with their
if
self,
you
not in love with them, but to not
with
love them, but to be in love with them.
with their perception of themselves.
Yeah, with their perception of themselves.
Because I could be in love with a narcissist, or I could love a narcissist, and you know he totally would hate everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually narcissists are very charming and you know very, of course, because they have to continuously make sure of what you said, that you know all the attention is upon them, and they are the like the takers of our reality without giving anything. And they couldn't, because they are just so occupied with themselves.
Yeah, it's like that makes so much sense, because then it's like you say something and it's always being like spun into their world, and it's like there's none of this like relationship. It makes sense what you're saying. That's a real truth bomb, as they say. And so yeah, it's just like with angry people, with narcissists, you can't.
No, you cannot.
You have to step aside.
Yeah.
That's hard sometimes, especially if you really love them, or it can be hard. And until you're fed up, I guess. Is waiting until you're fed up with something or someone, is that waiting too long?
That's waiting too long. That's waiting too long. I mean, you have to, but you know, it depends on your degree of honesty.
Not in your degree of strength and endurance.
No, because, I mean, a narcissist will destroy you.
Wow.
Because they do not have that capacity to reach beyond themselves. You know, they will destroy you. So, and they can promise you, you know, the moon. If you threaten to leave, or if you say, now I had enough, or like they promise you everything, and then, you know, they really, maybe they mean it in that moment. I don't want to be too sarcastic, but maybe they actually mean it. But there's no way that they follow through, because in order to follow through with a promise that you give to somebody or that you make to somebody, you know, you have to relate.
Yeah.
And they cannot. They cannot, like a true, pure narcissist cannot relate outside of himself. And like a recovering narcissist, so to speak, like somebody who really wants out of that, you know, they have already suffered quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been called a narcissist many times by people, but like I mean, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never understood it like that, like this.
I cannot correct you because I do not know how you understood it.
No, like how I don't acknowledge other people's realities. You know,
no, that's not true. For you, it's rather the opposite. You know, you acknowledge their realities to a degree that, you know,
it eclipses mine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need that leash where they, hey, come back.
Yeah.
You just got lost in that reality.
So there's different kinds of narcissisms, or like that's at the core of narcissism? Because, you know, people have called me that before, and I knew that they were just projecting their crap onto me. Like, it's like, I'm not narcissistic. Like, I really care about people, and
yes, you do.
You know, it's.
I mean, it's like with everything. You know, our words, most of our words have lost their meanings. You know, I mean, somebody is confident and has good self-esteem, and then they call them a narcissist. I mean, But also, we cannot be responsible for that.
Yeah. No, we can't. You can let them spin.
Yeah.
I always think of that first episode, season 1, episode 1, let them spin.
Yeah.
It's because, I mean, really, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Like, with compassion, not with, like, oh, let them spin,
No.
and, like, abandonment, but, like, okay, like, I let them spin because they need to.
Yes. And so
Let
this
them
is
spin
my
around the
advice.
sun.
This is my advice for everybody who thinks they are truly in a relationship with a narcissist. Go get help to get out of the relationship, because they will destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
They will take away your self-esteem. They will take away your sanity.
Yeah, and I just, before, like, we end it, like, it's just kind of like, a lot of times, at least kind of like where I was coming from, is like people who use the empty label or the word of narcissist, like that doesn't seem as intense and deep as the one you're talking about. Is like someone who cares about the way that they look, or they put effort into like things that they do, and they want things to be perfect, and like that's not necessarily narcissism.
No, that
like
can
that,
be
like
either vanity or just like
it could be
good,
vanity.
Yeah,
or just good hygiene, or
good
like
hygiene,
the
exactly.
prince who fell in love with himself, or in my like the story I knew was like it was like the girl who fell in love with her reflection in the lake or whatever. It doesn't matter, but it's like that's just a metaphor or a symbol for what narcissism is. It doesn't just mean like you're in love with the way that you look, or that you put a lot of effort into the way that you look, or your appearances, or your life, and
no, it literally
because you can be
means
grateful
that there is no room for anybody else. That's what it means. It's like there is only room for one relationship, and that is with yourself.
Yeah, it's really intense.
Outside of that, there is nothing, and that's the myth of narcissism.
But it can be healed, because it's really at the core of the ego. Like, it really can be healed, but it takes a lot of work, and only the person who is the narcissist can do it.
Absolutely.
Nobody can help this person.
No.
Other than, it's almost like a paradox in a way, because you can only help the narcissist who is ready to receive the help and get the help, which is like, once again, in the hands of the narcissist.
Exactly.
But, you see progress, and not that you just, fantasize that there's progress, but there is actually progress, because that's also part of the tricks of the narcissist.
But I would think it's like a lifetime chore.
Yeah.
I think, like with a alcoholic or any other addict, because I would call it, you're just addicted to yourself. And so it's like a lifetime process. And you cannot start to get like nonchalant about it.
Yeah. That's intense.
Yeah. It's intense. Life and the path to liberation. It's very intense.
So it's really good then to have friends and people that you can really know that are not narcissistic, because it's...
Yeah, or I mean, they have their spurts of narcissism. I mean, we all might.
Yeah, of course.
Like, not truly narcissistic, but there has to be a give and receive.
Yeah. So the best thing you can do is step out of the way.
Yes.
Angry people and narcissists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the narcissist, like you said before, will sooner or later be very angry with you, because there's just no way that you can always 24/7 just have that level of admiration and praise that they constantly need. I mean, just imagine a very simple situation. Let's say I'm in a relationship with a narcissist, and we have guests tonight, okay? So I ask, can you please pick up a bottle of wine on your way home from the office? Okay, and I rely on that.
Okay.
And then, he comes home, and where's the wine? Or the wine's not there.
Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't in his world.
Wasn't in his world. And then there's the story, and and I am like...
Oh, God, a story.
And I am not happy about that. I am not happy at all, and I make my feelings known. Guess who gets angry? Guess who's gonna start shooting arrows?
The narcissist.
Yeah. And guess whose fault all of a sudden it is that there is no wine, that he didn't bring the wine?
The requestee.
So it's gonna be my fault entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I mean, there is just no way any sane person would think, no, we had an agreement. So like you said, yes, you bring the wine, and aside from, whatever, like getting mugged in front of the house and
God
the wine
forbid.
bottle had to be dropped, whatever. It's not that then I would be unreasonable. But just like, no, there is no wine, and it was not being picked up for whatever reason, and the reason's not good enough, and it instantly starts to become an issue.
Mm-hmm. And like a non-narcissist, like would just be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Take self-responsibility, and like
I forgot,
and change, and be like, "Wow, like take responsibility for
I
not."
forgot. Can I go and get it now?
In a
I'm
way,
looking for
take
a solution.
responsibility for being narcissistic.
Yeah.
Whereas the narcissist would defend it.
Yeah. That's nice.
That's
interesting. I could see
interesting.
that.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, on one hand,
yeah.
it's really not so black and white and cut and dry, but
it never is with life.
But it's it's just something that we can talk about a little bit. So anyhow, I have to go stop Saya from chewing on the Christmas tree.
Yep.
So I think this has been very interesting. Any closing words before?
You will be the judge of it if it really was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
all I have to say.
Yeah, and I think so. And I think also just cherish, the good things that are there, and this is really good. So anyhow, let's turn those arrows into Lotus, because not all of us are innocent of not shooting arrows.
That's for sure true.
But we can all turn them into Lotus.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So you guys, this has been Arik
and Aurelia.
And you've just listened to an episode of
Ageless.
Please subscribe everywhere and send it off to anyone that you will think that will help in your world. See you guys next time. Bye.